Muhammad Ali walks into a private training gym in Los Angeles on a Tuesday afternoon in June 1972, and the energy in the room changes instantly. Not because he's the heavyweight champion of the world, not because he's the most famous athlete on the planet, but because in that moment, two philosophies of combat, two entirely different approaches to what it means to be a fighter are about to collide in a way that will change how both men understand their own mastery. And it all comes down to one question. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's start at the beginning. The gym is a converted warehouse in Culver City, nothing fancy. Concrete floors, heavy bags hanging from exposed steel beams, the smell of sweat and liniment oil. This is where Bruce Lee trains when he doesn't want crowds, doesn't want cameras, doesn't want to perform. This is where he goes to work. It's 2:30 p.m. Bruce is in the middle of a training session with three of his private students: Dan Innocento, his senior student and close friend, Ted Wang, a devoted practitioner, and Jerry Petit, a karate black belt who came to Bruce to learn real fighting. After realizing tournament karate wasn't preparing him for actual combat, Bruce is demonstrating his lead straight punch, the signature technique of Jeet Kune Do. Not the flashy spinning kicks people expect, not the dramatic poses from the movies. Just this, a simple, devastating straight punch that travels the shortest distance between 2 points with maximum efficiency. Watch, Bruce says, addressing his students but really talking to himself, working through the mechanics out loud. No wind-up, no telegraph. From here he touches his front hand to his face. To here he extends it toward Dan's nose, stopping 1 inch away. Nothing wasted. No excess movement. That's the difference between effectiveness and show. Dan, who's seen this demonstration 100 times, still can't fully process the speed. One moment Bruce's hand is by his face, the next moment it's touching Dan's nose. There's no middle, no transition, just position A and position B with no visible journey between them. Bruce resets. Again. Count how many movements, how many muscles engage unnecessarily, how many telegraphs give warning. 0. That's the goal. 0 wasted. The door opens. Everyone turns. And there, filling the doorway with 6'3" of heavyweight champion presence, is Muhammad Ali. For a moment, nobody moves. Ali is supposed to be in training camp preparing for his next fight. What's he doing here? How did he even know about this gym? Ali grins, that famous grin. Don't stop on my account. I'm just here to watch the master work. Bruce, to his credit, doesn't miss a beat. Muhammad, come in. We're just training. That's what I'm here for, Ali says, walking into the gym with that distinctive walk, loose, confident, like he's floating on ball bearings. Heard a lot about this Jeet Kune Do. Wanted to see it myself. You mind? Not at all, Bruce says. But there's something in his eyes, a calculation. Ali didn't just happen to drop by. He came for a reason, came to evaluate, came to understand, maybe came to test. Dan, Ted, and Jerry move to the side, suddenly very aware they're about to witness something significant. This isn't just Muhammad Ali visiting, this is one master observing another. This is the greatest boxer in history watching the greatest martial artist in history train. Continue what you were doing, Ali says, settling onto a bench against the wall, leaning back, arms crossed. Pretend I'm not even here. Pretending Muhammad Ali isn't in the room is like pretending the sun isn't in the sky. But Bruce returns to his demonstration. Speed, he says to his students, is not about moving fast, it's about eliminating the slow. Every technique has fat and necessary movement. Cut the fat. What remains is speed. He demonstrates again, the lead straight. Don blinks, and Bruce's fist is against his nose. Ali leans forward slightly, his eyes narrow. He's not just watching casually, he's analyzing, measuring, processing. Bruce continues for another 10 minutes, working through the basic techniques of Jeet Kune Do. The lead punch, the side kick, the hook kick, the finger jab. Every movement economical. Every technique stripped down to its essential function. No flourish, no waste, just pure efficiency. But then Bruce does something that makes Ali sit up straighter. Bruce calls Ted forward. Throw a jab at me, full speed. Don't hold back. Ted, a capable fighter himself, throws a legitimate jab. Fast, committed, the kind of punch that would put most people on the ground. Bruce isn't there. He's moved lateralized this 3 inches and Ted's fist passes through empty space. Before Ted can retract, Bruce's hand shoots out, touches Ted's face gently, and withdraws. Stop motion is faster than motion, Bruce says. I didn't move faster than your punch. I moved before your punch. I read your intention before you executed. That's not speed, that's perception. He does it again. Ted throws across. Bruce evades with minimal movement and counters. Again, Ted throws a hook. Same result. Evade, counter, reset. Bruce is demonstrating something that shouldn't be possible. He's making a trained fighter look like he's moving in slow motion. And Muhammad Ali, the man who makes heavyweight boxers look slow, who dances around men 220 pounds while weighing 215 himself, who has the fastest hands in heavyweight history. Muhammad Ali is watching this with complete focus. After 20 minutes of this, 20 minutes of Bruce demonstrating, explaining, refining, Lee raises one hand. Hold up. Can I ask something? The room goes quiet. Dan, Ted, and Jerry freeze. Bruce turns toward Ali. Of course, Bruce says. Ali stands up, walks to the center of the gym, stands maybe 10 feet from Bruce. He's smiling, but his eyes are serious. This is the moment. Everyone in the room feels it. Whatever Ollie is about to ask, it matters. Ollie looks at Bruce for a long moment, sizing him up. Bruce Lee is 5'7", maybe 140 pounds. Ali is 6 feet 3 inches, 215 pounds, 75 pounds heavier, 8 inches taller, longer reach, more power, every physical advantage. And yet, Ali asks, if you and I fought for real, no rules, no ring, no ref, just street, who wins? The room doesn't just go quiet. The room goes silent in a way that has weight. Dan Inosanto, who's been with Bruce for years, who's seen him handle hundreds of challengers, who knows Bruce's capability better than almost anyone ever. Dan doesn't know how Bruce is going to answer this, because this isn't just a question about fighting. This is Muhammad Ali, the man who told the world, I am the greatest, asking Bruce Lee if Bruce believes he could beat the greatest. Ted and Jerry are barely breathing. This moment is too charged to interrupt. Bruce looks at Ollie, doesn't answer immediately, doesn't deflect with humor or humility, just looks at him, processing the question, understanding what's really being asked. 10 seconds pass, 15, the silence stretches. Then Bruce says something that nobody expects. You'd win. Dan's eyes widen. Ted's jaw drops. Jerry looks confused. Bruce Lee, the man who literally wrote the book on combat philosophy, who's never backed down from anyone, who dismantled karate tournaments so thoroughly they stopped inviting him, just said Muhammad Ali would beat him. But Bruce isn't finished. In a boxing ring, with boxing rules, you'd destroy me in 90 seconds. Maybe less. You're too big, too fast, too powerful, and too skilled at boxing. In your domain, with your rules, I wouldn't stand a chance. Ollie nods slowly. This is the answer he expected. The logical answer. The honest answer. But then Bruce continues. However, that one word changes everything. The energy in the room shifts. If we fought with no rules, in a street, where I can use kicks, where I can attack your legs, your knees, where I can use fingers to your eyes, where grappling and ground fighting are options, where weapons are possible, then the equation changes completely. Bruce takes one step closer, not aggressive, just closing distance to make his point. You're a boxer, Muhammad, the greatest boxer, but boxing has rules, rules that protect you. No kicking below the belt, no strikes to the back of the head, no small joint manipulation, no grappling. These rules create a specific game, and you've mastered that game better than any human in history. Another step. But those rules are also limitations. Your stance is designed for boxing. It's perfect for boxing, but it leaves your legs exposed. Your training is designed for hands. Your defense is designed for punches. Take away the rules, and everything changes. Ollie is listening with complete attention now. This isn't trash talk. This isn't ego. This is one master explaining reality to another master. But Bruce says, there's something else, something more important than technique. He pauses. This is it. This is the real answer. You have warrior spirit, real warrior spirit, not movie spirit, not fake warrior face. You fought the best fighters in the world. You've been hit by George Foreman's right hand and stayed standing. You fought 11 rounds with Joe Frazier. You went to prison rather than compromise your principles. You're not a fighter who acts tough. You're actually tough, tested, proven. Bruce gestures to himself. Me, I've never been in a real fight where my life was at stake. I've beaten people in challenges, sparred thousands of rounds, but I've never been in a war like you have. I've never been in a championship fight where millions are watching and the pressure is crushing and you're exhausted and hurt and you have to reach inside yourself and find something to continue. The room is completely still. So who wins? Bruce says. In the street, with no rules, pure survival. If you don't know what I can do, if you come at me with boxing instincts, I probably win because I'll attack in ways you're not trained to defend. But if you know what I can do, if you adapt, if that warrior spirit applies itself to a different kind of fight I don't know, maybe you, because warrior spirit beats technique when the gap isn't too wide. And you have warrior spirit I've only theorized about. Ollie absorbs this, processes it, then does something nobody expects. He laughs, not a mocking laugh, a genuine, appreciative laugh. Man, Ollie says, shaking his head, you just gave me the most intelligent answer to that question I've ever heard. Everyone else says either of course Ollie wins because he's bigger, or of course Bruce wins because Kung Fu beats boxing. You're the first person to say it depends on the context and the constraints. Ollie walks closer, extends his hand. Bruce takes it. They shake, two men who understand combat at a level few humans ever reach, acknowledging each other's mastery. You know what I respect, Ollie says. You didn't try to sell me, didn't try to convince me your art is superior. You just explained reality. Context determines outcome. Rules determine winner. That's truth. Bruce nods. Every martial art is designed for specific contexts. Boxing is perfect for boxing. Wrestling is perfect for wrestling. Jeet Kune Do is designed for no rules survival. But nobody wins all contexts. The water that works in a river doesn't work in a desert. Be water, Ali says, grinning. I read that interview. You read my interviews. Man, everyone reads your interviews. You're the only martial artist who talks sense. Most of them talk about chi and ancient secrets and mystical powers. You talk about physics and efficiency and truth. That's real. They talk for another 30 minutes, not about who would win a fight, about training philosophy, about dealing with fame, about the burden of being seen as a symbol of your community, about what it's like to have millions of people project their expectations onto you. Dan Inosanto watches this conversation and realizes he's witnessing something rare to men at the absolute peak of their respective crafts, finding common ground not through competition but through mutual recognition of the difficulty of mastery. Before Ollie leaves, he asks Bruce one more thing. Can you teach me that thing you did, that evading before the punch lands? Bruce smiles. That's not a technique. That's 10,000 hours of sensitivity training, of learning to read intention before it becomes action. I can show you the exercises, but it takes years. I don't have years, Ali says. I got fights to win now. Then stay boxing. Bruce says, you've already perfected it. Don't dilute your mastery trying to add mine. Be the best at one thing, not mediocre at two things. Ollie nods. Wise words. He heads toward the door, then turns back. Bruce, one more thing. That question I asked about who wins. You know why I asked it? Why? Because I needed to know if you're real or if you're selling. Everyone's selling something. Everyone's got an angle. I needed to know if you actually believe what you teach or if you're just another con man with a good pitch. And, Bruce asks, you're real, Ali says. You admitted I'd beat you in boxing. A con man never admits weakness. You didn't try to convince me your art is supreme. A salesman always does. You just explained context. That's what real masters do. They understand limitations. Ollie opens the door. That's why I respect you, Bruce. You're not trying to be the best at everything. You're trying to understand everything. Big difference. He leaves. The door closes, and for a long moment, nobody in the gym speaks. Finally, Dan says, did that just happen? That, Bruce says quietly, is what happens when ego doesn't get in the way. When two people respect truth more than pride. Jerry asks, but would you really lose to Ali in a boxing match? Bruce looks at him like he asked if water is wet. Of course, 90 seconds, maybe less. He's Muhammad Ali. I'm a martial artist who studies boxing. There's a difference between studying something and being the best in the world at it. But in a street fight, Ted asks. Bruce is quiet for a moment. Then, doesn't matter. We're never going to fight for real. The question is theoretical. What matters is, did you see how he moves? Did you see that shoulder feint? Did you catch the foot position when he demonstrated his jab? That's information. That's learning. Two masters in one room, both learning from each other. That's the point. Years later, after Bruce Lee's death in 1973, Muhammad Ali is asked by a reporter about Bruce Lee. Ali's response: Bruce Lee was the one guy who could have given me trouble. Not because he was stronger, but because he understood things I didn't understand. He understood how to take away my advantages. That's intelligence, not just skill. The reporter asks the obvious question, "So, could he have beaten you?" Ali gives that famous Ali smile. "We'll never know. And maybe that's better. Because we got to respect each other as masters without having to prove it in blood. Sometimes the best fights are the ones that never happen. Bruce taught me that." Dan Inosanto, in interviews decades later, says, "People always want to know who would win, Bruce or Ali. They miss the point." Bruce's answer to Ali's question wasn't about who wins. It was about honesty, context, and mutual respect between masters. That 20-minute training session and that one question taught me more about true martial arts than years of training. The question Ali asked didn't silence the room because it was controversial. It silenced the room because it demanded truth in a space where ego usually lives. And Bruce's answer, complex, nuanced, honest, elevated both men. Two masters, one question, zero ego. That's the real lesson. That's what happens when greatness recognizes greatness, not competition, recognition. And that Tuesday afternoon in June 1972, in a converted warehouse in Culver City, two men showed the world what real mastery looks like. It looks like respect. It looks like honest assessment. It looks like admitting limitations while understanding strengths. The room went silent because truth was spoken. And truth, real truth, is rare enough to command silence. That's the story. That's the moment. That's what happened when Muhammad Ali asked Bruce Lee one question that changed how everyone in that room understood combat, mastery, and the difference between ego and excellence.